two, one. All right, and we are back. We are back. We are back. This is Out of the Mud presents Connected and Protected with Dehru Mitchell.
Our true spirituality. And it comes in the form of that we receive it at the moment of our conception or inception. An innate a knowing that came with our soul within it and indwelt. The ability to allow direct connection with the most hidden source of your spiritual essence from source. When we come into the eternity in view of the being afforded an appointed time, we are given the work we are we are given the work we are supposed to do. We have a spiritual curriculum. Before we come down here on earth, we figure out what we are going to do to look like, what we are going to be, tall, dark, and handsome, or whatever. Are we going to be born in the ghetto? What parents we were going to have? What experiences we were going to have? We have a council of elders that help us decide these things. And when we come down to earth, we essentially suppose to go through a schooling and a teaching and their points of the journey where I ask somebody spiritually, hey, at this point in my journey, I'm going off track. I need you to come in my life. So why sometimes you people come in your life and go, and you wonder why this person was amazing to one to me. Why did that just leave my life? Sometimes you acceptable. Sometimes you actually made that bond or agreement before you come down and down here. So what you get is what are you when you find that mind that is in you? While yet lower than what we consider angels, we seem to reach for our crown and receive the glory and honor for having accomplished our journey and completed the race. For in the beginning, we began uncorruptible. Then, before we knew to choose the good and refuse the evil, evil had crept in. While having dominion over whatsoever passes through the paths of the seas, having set our eye, having set our eye on the mark of the highest calling, we are getting where we walk without getting tired. When it's inevitably we came to soar on the wings as of eagles to reach the diabolical upon the mounts that we have and must cast down, and the rest to the abyss to welcome our well done. Having finished, we enter into our rest. These things come during a spiritual awakening, and it is followed quite naturally by the spirit growing in you. And it takes the nourishment of the meditations and going into the spiritual realm and growing within that so that you can bring back that growth with this ability to sort out the sides of agreeable, disagreeable, good and evil, the wickedness that exists also in the planes and dimensions that it has that you traverse when you go through the different paradigms in this society and you meet with those entities and you know them by their works and you know what they do by how they do them, so that you find yourself linking up with those of like spirituality and those that are guided into your paths, into your lives, and those that come to guard over you, which you don't quite get the fullness of knowledge of until you go through many of the religions and you take out the bits and pieces that are truth and you leave the rest to understand that there were contrivances given and made so that you would not reach that true knowledge of your spiritual self, because we were given the task, and that was to guard the planet, keep the planet, and help the planet stay free of all of the pollution from those negative beings, negative sources of energy that has had dominion before we even came. But they were cast; those spirits were cast out of the heavenly realms, and that's why the heavenly realms were put in you, so that when you finally were beat down and diswrought about the way the world is, you were going within yourself and find that peace that was necessary for you to continue in this world. Mm. So we came upon, you know, guidances, the guiders, the teachers, the instructors, each given for the purpose that when you reach that what you call spiritual hunger, they will be there to feed you. Um, I find we have had some, and some were given, and some we chose for ourselves because they espoused or they spoke of those things that they are. And the way it goes is that you shall know the truth, and that truth will make you free. But knowing comes with hearing it, so that it resonates within you and it joins together with your spirit from the spirit that is giving it. Because it first came from source, and that source was the all encompassing all that you came from and will return to. I find that I had a long journey, which was spoken to me as you will go into the thicket, amongst the thorns and the thistles. You will go down into the actually down into the mud, and you will bring out those or drop seeds into. Some will become fertile into fertile soil, and some will just be on sand. But nevertheless, it's your job, and it wasn't a matter of should you accept it. You were given that task, and you chose it. So and it said that you are bringing out those who are yet to be saved, and we all met that point in which we join together with a true spirituality, and we exist on it until we came to the dominion that it was given. And we walked with heads high, shoulders back, a smile on our face, because we knew we were doing that which would be pleasing in the sight of that one who gave us our beginning and will hopefully will be there when we reach that end. I know I want to hear well done. I know I want to be into I know I want to enter into my rest, into the arms of the everlasting love that has pervaded all existence from its beginning. And that's why I always say one love. And I have no doubt that that love dominates everything, even over the hatred that came second to it. And because of it, because it is that negativity that supposedly closes the circuit, it balances out with not only love but the totality reaches into you so that it makes itself more than any negative force would ever be. Even when that negativity comes against you, you may shake, you may become a little unstable, but sooner or later, that dominion that you have over any and everything takes place when you decide that you will return to source and you get full knowledge of the fact that that source is in you, and you allow it to guide you, and you allow yourself to find the path that you are on to be that path that is your journey. And that journey is going to take on all of the components of your correction, your ability to be in agreement with everyone that comes into your life for whatever reason, so that you both find a spiritual aspect in it that gives both of you power. If it's just the fact that you are enabling them to see a different perspective than they ever have before, because you've been through it and you decided that, hey, this is what you were going to do. You don't worry about how somebody else feels about it. You just espouse it, you expound on it, and you give it the fullness of your desire to be included in their lives only for that purpose. And then, like they come and go, you'll come and go, but the memories will last, especially when they mount up and add the jewels into your crown for your accomplishments. Those people will speak highly of you, and even then, you'll be set in high places where you may confound those who desire to keep control over you, and they have none. And they are being controlled when they tell you, look, we don't know where you got that power or that ability to be so defiant to our control, but we have to let you go. We can't confine you, we can't condemn you, and we dare not crucify you because we need no more martyrs or stifling of the spirit that is in you. Ah, so we have to allow you to go, and hopefully you won't get enough of a following to truly upset our structured paradigms in religious and false teachings and all of the things that people have bound themselves to that are binding. They subject you to uh, they subject you to they subject you to the overpowering nature of those structures that have been in place since way before you came, and now you are taking them down a little notch or two, and as an overwhelming force will come and build up, because the joining of yourselves together is a method by which they have no ability to stop. And we do that on many levels in the spiritual form that, sometimes we don't even know the magnitude of when we reach into those spiritual realms and we bring back that power that it from there, and we assert it into this plane on in this dimension, and it it breaks circuits, it brings down strongholds, it makes those that are supposedly in power powerless. And that's how things will be turned around. And it coming to the point where that time is, and those who are being raised up will have that ability to turn things around, not by force, just by sheer will being instituted and synergized and grabbing more and more power by those who find themselves being included in it and including themselves in a way that is supernatural to those of this plane that had thought they had dominion over it, for they were given dominion by our lessening of ourselves before we found out the true power we had in us. And now that we know, and together, oh, we've grown together in league with each other from every dimension, from every path, from all of the religions that we have, those keys and those it said you get a little here, you get a little there, and it'll come together and it'll be like one. And that's how we'll be from all over the world, from the spiritual reaching down into the physical and the mental and bringing us back up to the spiritual, so that we have the power and the might to tear down the strongholds that would devastate us without that ability. And it comes with acceptance of it, and it comes with a desire to have it above those things of the world, because it doesn't grant you riches, it doesn't grant you ah, glory, fame, honor, all of that stuff that is presently sought after. So that what it does give you is true life. It gives you life everlasting, gives you that ultimate return to eternity, that which you came from. So shall you return to it, especially when you come from perfection and you perfect the perfection you were created to be. And that is the true sense of spirituality. We uh, there's various ways in different countries. I mean, each has their religions, and sometimes we take on religions from other countries. We practice Hinduism, Buddhism, just to name a couple, but there's many, and all are a path to find a spark within a spark to spark up your spirituality. And once that spark is ignited, it flames up inside you. That's why we have a solar plexus, we have a heart that opens to that spiritual being that you are. And it allows you to communicate with it. And it gives you a firm stand. It gives you a total inflection, gives you a total inflection of self. It tells you where you need correcting. It tells you what to give up. and when to give it up. With all of that, mm, there is that ability to connect with those that will come into your life, or there's that ability to reach those are who you have been given to teach, those you have been given to bring into spirituality, even though they have a knowledge of it, it's not of their own, and it's not of their own self, because they haven't learned to look within. And it is said, it was said, and it was written that the kingdom of heaven is within you. Therefore, meditate on that word. Bring yourself into compliance with it, and you will bring heaven to earth and walk amongst that heavenly host that is always above you, that you will find within you and within those that you have enamored yourself, you have made yourself connected with, because you be like minded, like spirited, and that will be overtaking all of those forces that will come against you. I have written that they should go to each galactical body, had their own school on the planet. Some didn't realize that throughout the holy books, when the source was speaking about angelic beings coming to earth, you have entertained them between the Christianity, the 11th century, the little the images that they put out to befuddle your mind before you even reached into spirituality. You got you got an image put before you, and that what you were told your spiritual beings were, when they had no idea, because they could not conceive your innate and your indwelt spirituality that each and every one of us received at the moment of that conception, is the inception of an inward knowledge that would expand itself once taken through the trials and tribulations, that would make you yearn for the source that spirituality wants to return to, for it is its own driving force, and it refuses to be halted or dismantled or broken. It will first tear something up, so you'll get ahead, you'll get above, and even if it's non noticeable to anyone else, you'll know it, because you're the only one that can do what you set out to do, what was giving you your task. And it will pervade all of the oh, there's pain there. You will pervade in to your from your unconscious to your conscious. It will give you that little knowledge at every point where you are to escape the net of the fowler. It will give you that ability to see ahead of those that are coming after you for the point of your destruction, where it was meant for evil, it would be turned to your good. And it would always give you a nature to nurture all of those who you will find put in your path, or that the path will be given for you to join in with those also. We have found that the greatest ability to overcome is in the overcoming. of the now come on. We found that the overcoming is overcoming those debilities that you have put in yourself and in the way of your um, reaching into your true spirituality until you realize there's no other way. And then you break those cycles and you break down those barriers and you break down those uh, wicked entities that say we shall always rule. We have set our step. We have set our throne above the throne of the Most High, and we have entered in, and to man, we will be as God, and that will never happen. For He is all, in all, and above all. And He gives you that ability also because you are that which He created. And to Him was, and through Him was said that we were His greatest creation. Even though those who were made before us, they disavowed themselves of the allegiances to their first estates and they broke them and they came down here because of being disobedient, they've been rebellious, and they brought themselves here and they polluted this planet with us so that when we are born into it, we don't even know that that is the sin that we were born into because it it pervades it no it subtly lets itself be known in so many ways. As I said, before we knew to choose the good and refuse the evil, evil had crept in. And it made us unaware of anything other than it being normal until it actually disagreed with your soul. For that's what the war is over. Your immortal soul. For he breathed life breath into you and you became a living soul. People take that some people just never find that out. Some people take it for granted. Some people just hear it, slough it off. But that spirit also came, and it was also it was also incorporated into the flesh, as, and that's what made you a triune being, so that you had the ability to mortify the flesh, live in the spirit, and protect your soul. As I said, that's what the war is over. And it's it.
Do you think you could go more into the war, like of our soul?
Man decided that he would be uh he would be that test. He would be that test that would prove God. And God said for you to bring all things to his remembrances. So therefore you must know them before you can bring them back to his remembrance. And he is the eternal one who gave all knowledge and all ability to know. And he indwelt that in you so that you would have that that same form of spirituality that Christ had when he was taken up on the mount and he was tested by Satan. And he told him, look, I'm my father's son. You have nothing that he can give me, and I have set myself to receive. I took off glory and came down here to take back his creation from your dominance. So, no, I will not bow the knee to you, even though you have been given all those kingdoms that you say you'll give to me if I do bow down to you. My father has all those kingdoms and more. In his house, there are many mansions. and one is prepared for me. So that when I go back, not only will I take back my glory, I will also have honor to sit at his side, at his right hand, and be the strength that holds man in the grasp of him instead of your grasp, you evil one, the one who iniquity was first found in. And it became the source of your power because you were cast off. And in your rage, you decided that you would tear man's soul from the one who gave him his soul.
And how do you think that the war over our souls will ultimately be won? Like won as in like won over.
Because he has attested that all his, no, of all of his, none has he lost, and he will bring back you into the fold or whatever. Um, let's see, what is that? He will bring you back under a fold of that which he was given to, of that whom you were given to be shepherded by, and that will be that everlasting salvation. And no matter from which direction it comes, like I said, none of his will be lost. And all of that, you know, and Satan knows this. That other entity knows this. The one who would prevail, who would seek to put himself in the position of the Almighty in front of you and have you even worship him. But that 99.9% of the truth doesn't overpower the 100%. And to that extent, that one will leave him to be cast into the abyss, cast into the sea of forgetfulness, and at the end times, when you will be brought back in, you won't even have a knowledge of it. You have no remembrance of it. So you would have never known he ever existed in you, in the world, because heaven will prevail. And you've asked for that many times.
And do you believe that we're in the end times?
I already know.
There's just
Even
so much going on right now.
as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be again. And what is taking place in this time that doesn't, that, I mean, leaves anything to, if you know, that leaves anything to question, you know? You see all the aspects of the things before the flood that's coming now, and it was said that it won't be water this time. No, that promise it will be fire. And just what last week, I believe it was, we had the ring of fire around this in the astral in this astral planes where the moon set in front of the sun, and all you saw was that ring of fire.
I mean, that's a clear sign right there for sure.
Mm-hmm. So we're reaching. I mean, even I, from where I came, no one would expect that I would be given and espousing spirituality to this degree and in this way. You know, I come up out of nowhere. As a matter of fact, this is a very good production. I come out the mud because I was sent into the thorns and the thickets. You understand? And and I was sent there, and I find myself, you know, I chose not to get no stripes down my back. I had to. I chose to say what was put in me to say to those who were I were to say it to, and I had no choice. I decided that's what I was going to do because that is how I was protected. I have been through. Mm, I've been in some places where I've seen things happen right next to me that I was like, wow, did they take that one out? And I mean, those that have no connection because they haven't sought to have it. you know. And then some things fall on deaf ears, some things fall on blind eyes because there are spiritual sights and there's spiritual healing. He directly comes. And as was said, he knocks on your heart. And in a still small voice, he asks, "May I enter?" And it's up to you to let him in. And that is your spirituality will which starts to grow from that point if you accept it. And if you ignore it, it may knock and it may knock and it may knock again. But at each point, it's never going to overtake your will because that's what was given you as your decision, as your choice. You understand? And man, the true creation, not mankind, and its human form, not a sort like humanity. We are that that will inevitably give the praise that is that which is deserving to that whom is it given as that uh, attestation that which you are saying there is no more than that. There is nothing greater than that. There is nothing that you desire more than that. For that spirit that is indwelt in you yearns to return to the spirit that it came from.
See, but you probably already went over this before I came. I came in a little bit later, but I was wanting to know, like, what's your very first step to becoming aware of your true spirituality?
Knowing that you cannot overcome things in this world by yourself, but yet you are, and you are still existing. Now, coming more into life and the ability to enjoy life, that spirit oversteps, it leaps over, it breaks through all of those.
You're just so understanding of everything, like you just see everything around you.
Exactly.
When you think about speaking, existing, thinking, like consciously.
You have gone up into that ethereal realm, and then you go to the astral planes, and you bring all of those things back with you. Now they have their methods of reaching those higher states of consciousness, and then it breaks off from just a physical consciousness. It takes you to a spiritual awareness, that which has always been, and you were part of that when it became what it was, and you only got your inception at its appointed time in the creation of the creation.
So first, explain about removing that blockage. You said it's always been there. The awareness of spirituality. It's just there's something preventing you. With all these different distractions that they have nowadays, preventing you from being aware of your true spirituality. So it's about first moving that blockage. Do you believe?
It's always going to happen. Now, what you do with it is up to you. But see, as I said, that spirit yearns to return to the spirit from which it came. So it's going to lead you in many directions. It's going to pull you into some directions. And um, uh, uh, it's over is over directing you to itself. It will bring you into right standing with it. Now, after that, you have a choice to return to the world, which is, you favor those things that debilitate you, to just, everybody doing it, I'll do it too. You know. And other than that, you're gonna walk on your own path, and you're gonna meet with those that are in need of you, and you're gonna give them the direction that you are given to give them. and you're going to proceed in the path that's going to take you to your inevitable outcome that's going to be pleasing to that spirit that's in you, and it's going to, allow you to join back to that spirit that it came from.
Okay. Sure. I guess one more question that I do have for you. When you're talking about like your purpose and stuff like that, do you believe that God, or just like more so a question that's so, do you believe that, because I've heard that God, you can't really, how do I put this question, do you believe that God is already intended to have a purpose for each individual, instead of
Oh,
us
that's
trying to
as I
figure out
said,
what's right for
you
everyone?
chose that before you even came.
Mm.
You were given your desire even then,
Mhm.
but it was going to be a test also. You understand? Because it's a journey that you take from your birth to the end of that path, so that all of the things that you overcome, all those things that you accomplish, and all those that see that accomplishment and join into that accomplishment gives you that um mm, well, they say I'll give you your flowers while you're alive. You understand? They won't wait until you're gone and say, "Oh," and throw out some that you'll never see. Not on this side, anyway. Because my true understanding is we never die. We just pass from life to life, and in that passing, along these journeys, we are to sin in each life, in whatever dimension, or whatever dimension, or we're on whatever plane, to a closer to a closer inclusion back into that spirit.
So do you believe there's like an end game to all of like different lives that you've gone through? Do you believe that there's like an end to that, or is it just ongoing?
It's perfecting the perfection you came from, that you were created to be. You come into that creation, maybe a little, like I said, you're born into the sin in the world, but you're not punished for your sin. You're punished by that sin, for it seeks to overtake you, it seeks to engulf it, it seeks to devour you. For he said, I come as a roaring lion, seeking whom I may devour. And if those who leave themselves to be a tasty little morsel get ate up, hey, what can I say? But at the most, even then, he said, none have I lost. I'll go to, as Jesus was said, to go to hell and back, and bring up those that are yet to be saved, or were saved, just taken down and put to sleep. You understand? And that's what it said about us. We're asleep. And that's why we can live in the American dream or any other thing. You understand? And the world is like an illusion that's full of delusions. And it will take you and over engulf you. As Noah was swallowed up in the whale, and spit back out somewhere else, because he found himself uh, able to agree that he better do what he was supposed to do. Yeah.
Something actually just thinking about that. So I'm reading this book right now. It's called The Four Agreements, and kind of was talking about that in this one. I think it was either chapter one or chapter two, where it talks about the dream being like a just like there's a barrier between like what's really like like again the dream, that's the illusion. It's time
Mm-hmm.
when you
Mm-hmm.
being woke or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just let me see if I can find it, but you can continue.
But see, that part there is like the difference between living in or living having spiritual awareness, or living and just living with a carnal mind. And that carnal mind is blocked from the spiritual things because it can't receive them. So that blockages and those barriers are set. That's what you have to rise above and overpower, cast them down, and leave them to those who actually desire them to overtake you. And they find that they have no strength, no power, and they push to the side. But other than that, it's in you to become aware of. It's in you with its own knowing of itself. And you have to reach in you after you have just a little inkling that it's there, and it compels you to know it more and more. We do things to debilitate it. Some people use alcohol, some people use other substances, and they give themselves to the substances. And most substances truly should be used to enhance your ability to go towards spirituality. And I think in some cases it was, but it was used in its natural form. It wasn't, it wasn't, the contrivances that made it, what do you call it? Chemi- uh, Synthetics. Yeah, it didn't make it a synthetic chemical that alters the brain. It made it. It was from natural things that increased its um, connections in the mind and connections in the sights and connections in the hearing. It stimulated them. It made them ultra.
I feel like a big, like, really big, good example of substance for that specifically would be like psychedelics, like mushrooms, maybe. Those.
Yeah, and the highest one I thought was what do you call it? How call it?
So like maybe like
Anasquatcha. Huh.
I was to say this one. Well, this one's like way like extreme. This one's like from drugs. I think it's like DMT or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
That's if you want to be like, I don't know. Like
I
here's like
can't.
the
I
flame
can't.
of
I
color.
can't pronounce it right now. It's the ones that you have to go to a resort. They have shamans there, and you get prepared to do it. Anasquatcha. Anasquatcha.
It's like peyote or something.
No, it's a little more. It's a little stronger than that. Okay. It clears out everything. You understand? You come to a true sense of self, joined with spirituality, and it allows you to give up all other what was considered addictions and all of that, and it takes you from a physical to a spiritual, and when it turns you back, when you return back to the physical, you also bring that spiritual with you. You um, mm, but actually, if you were never if you were never overpowered or didn't realize where spirit if you didn't lose that spiritual connection at birth, which is said we received a mind sweep or um, a mind well, yeah, mind sweep. The other word is a forgetfulness. We forgot all of our past lives. We forgot all of our previous journeys. And we come into this, as it said, goes toward the light. And instead of us remaining in the ethereal realm, we come to this plane. And if we haven't completed ourselves and our journeys and what we were to do, we'll return.
Right. Do you believe like each journey, like each life that we go to, we have to keep repeating the same like lesson that was like meant for us to learn until we completely learn that?
Yeah, we don't skip. And we're not, what did it say,
like, oh,
put forward. We're not going to let you just not do, and we're going to put you into something else. And, you haven't completed that because intricately, it's all intricately accomplishing you reaching that state of spirituality that you can return to the source of your spirituality. And you not only bring in your completion of that journey, you complete that which was lessened when he sent you out. You like that little facet that's chipped off the diamond. As the diamond gets purer, it gets more brilliant. But that little facet that sends out, that it sends off, that's taken off of it, for that brilliance to come, it's sent out to become brilliant too. Okay, so before wrapping this up, I want to say that take a little time, reflect inwardly, become knowledgeable of the self that you are without anyone else being there. You know, it will explain itself. It will tell you who you are. You will be looking in the mirror and you may even catch a glimpse of it past the appearance of the physical form that you've always seen in front of you. Um, I want to say that in future speakings, I can give you some guidances, some people who I received uh, uh, truth from, truths from. Some that, inevitably I had to also research in this on this plane because I didn't believe that the contrivances, even like the councils that were made, that were spoken of in the Bible, like the council of Ephesus and the one of Thebes, and they took crafty counsels. They made those things that are from things that are not, because what was always. And in all ways, they changed the truth of it into a lie. And they told it so often that people began to believe it. And in believing over their inward knowing, they cast dispersions on themselves. They set up their own barriers. They put off those blockades and find themselves behind them instead of overtaking them and going above and beyond them, which would give you the power to look back at them and say, oh, they thought that was gonna work. And that is what it said, that he gave you the ability to escape the net of the fowler. You know how birds would be caught up in the net, but that net yet had openings in it. Well, some of those openings got increased just so those birds or those fowls, which is FOWL, would get away. Because even some were called the bird of paradise, and they weren't to be kept or crucified. You understand? So, um, in lieu of that, I want to say seek the power that is within you. Seek that true spirituality that you have. For there's a false one going around, and it will give you delusions of grandeur. It'll make you think that, hey, this is the way it's supposed to be. And that will bring you to naught. It will bring you to nowhere. It will make you nobody. And they have always set a little bit of a tripwire in there. So that as soon as you thought you were good, they're going to pull that tripwire and bring you straight down and make you naked in the streets by bearing all of their knowledge of you that they have contrived you to do. And you can see that in many cases, especially today, you understand, where they paid you to do things and they said that you get away with it. But as soon as those that are in front of you that you got paid to do and you didn't, you're going down with them. No matter where you are. I mean, you can be billionaires, as some are in the face of the news today, you know, with some of the most degrading and degrading and debilitating and the divination that they went through to become that way. They sold their souls, as I said. And now they paying the price to the piper.
Oh yeah.
And with that, we're gonna give allegiance and what is it? Oaths, allegiances, and pledges to be broken so that we can return to that spirituality that is the biggest battle. And we can't lose ourselves to man's oaths, allegiances, or pledges when we have ourselves to save, our souls to save.
Luther Deloney Jr. He said, "Getting it out the mud, getting your soul out the mud."
Yeah, from which he came. You know, that's as you say, he formed man and breathed the breath of life into him, and he became a living soul. And with that, we're going to complete this podcast. Until the next time.